about your larger numbers and then how to ask for the price of something. With your numbers 100 to 1,000, you can see you actually start a pattern again. So just like in English where you only need to know your you only need to know each of the hundreds. Well, even the hundreds is a repetition. So let's go ahead and learn our hundreds, and then you can see what it would be to add some in there. So 100 is 100, just like in that video that I showed you guys before. But as soon as you go over 100, if you have, so if you have 100, that's, spell it right, 100. But if you go over 100, it becomes 101. So as soon as you go over 100, you change the word to ciento. And then you're going to use this ciento when you're creating your numbers up to 1,000. Okay? So then 200 is going to be, so here's 200. You are just going to put the number 2, dos. And then you're going to use that word ciento, but we're going to make it plural because it's not 200, it's 200s. Okay? And the same thing happens with 3. 300 would be 3, 300. And you're going to do that the same for 4. The only ones that don't do that are going to be 5, which instead of it being 500 is 500. And 7, instead of it being 700, is 700. So it is the same as adding 7, just minus the I. And then 9, there is no 900, is 900. Okay? So you'll see the only ones that are a little bit strange here are, well, I'll just circle them, are 500, 700, and 900. Okay, you'll also notice that you're being given, well, let me do this beforehand. So let's say we had numbers that, then you're just adding your numbers together. So if you have like 253, then you're going to write 200. Just break it out into its components. So this is really 200 plus 50 plus 3. Okay. So when you write that out, you're going to write 200, 200. Then you're going to write 50, 53. Okay, notice how I put an and between my 50 and my 3. That's because when you were taught to do your numbers from 16 up, it's like 10 and 6, 20 and 2. There are no ands, though, between your hundreds and your 50s. There's no 250 and there's no and between your hundreds and your 1. So, for example, if I had 301, that's just going to be 301. There is no 301, okay? And so then the other piece, though, that you'll notice is that these numbers now have an OS/AS. That's because your numbers can be used as adjectives, and when they're used as adjectives, they have to agree with the nouns that they describe. So, for example, if I have 200 tables, then instead of it being 200, because what I'm describing are mesas, I'm going to make it 200. So if just for your hundreds, not 100, 100 would still stay the way that it is. So if it's 100 tables, that would still be 100 mesas. Or if it's 101 tables, your 100 stays the same. But if you're using these numbers, if you're using your numbers as an adjective to describe how much of something you have, if that thing that's being described by your numbers is feminine, make sure you use the AS ending, not the OS ending. So once you get past 999, you go up to 1,000. 1,000 is mil, not un mil. It's just mil. That's right here. So you never use un mil. You just use mil. Okay. However, a million is un millón. Okay. And then it says when the number 100 is followed by any number lower than 100, we say ciento. So this would be 102 millones. So it doesn't matter. 110,200. 3,150. Okay. You'll also notice that they are using the decimal point instead of the comma, so it's backwards in Spanish. This is the metric system. We use, so in Spanish, you represent large numbers with a decimal point and fractions with the comma. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in here. Okay, that looks like it about covers it. However, let me show you a couple of other things. What if you had, so remember that uno has to agree, just like your hundreds do. So if I have, let me think, if I had like 100, okay, so if I have this number, 101,000, that would be 101, 101. But you can't do that. Whenever you have one, describe it coming before another word, you're going to drop its O. So you would write this as 101,000. And then also remember, like if you had 151 tables, that it becomes 151. That's one. But uno is one that also agrees, so you would actually change the O to an A here. 151 mesas. Or if I had 100 or, I don't know, 231 books, then it would be 231. That's 231. But when I'm using it to describe how much of something I have, I need to make this 231 libros. Okay, so let's see if we can do a little bit of practice. So Richard wrote an essay about his college. His Spanish professor has marked the sentences that contain numerals and asked him to spell them out. Can you help him write each of the following numbers and words? Well, in each of these scenarios, you have your numbers are describing something. It's not, whoops, let me make it smaller. It's $900. It's 230 people. It is 2,500 students. It is $100,000. And it is 750 students and 181 students. So you're not always going to use the feminine forms of these numbers. For example, here it's 900. If we went back out here to this little piece right here, 900 is 900. So that's what we would type. 900, and because I'm describing dollars, I would leave it just as that. This has 230 people, so 200 is 200, and 30 is 30. But what I'm describing are personas, so even though the 200 doesn't come right next to the personas, it's still 200, it's 230 people. I need to make this feminine to agree with personas. This is estudiantes, so 2,000 would be 2,000. And I don't think I showed you how to do that. When we get into the thousands, all you have to do is put the number of how many thousands there are before 1,000. So 2,000, 3,000, 11,000. Mil means 1,000, and it just needs to be written after the amount of thousands that you have. So 2,500, and I leave it 500 because the students is masculine. Okay. And here it's 100,000, so that would be 100,000. And this is 750 students, so 750 estudiantes. And you can't make any of the other numbers agree, like the smaller numbers, 50, 30, they all just stay the way they are. You don't have to worry about making them agree. And then 181 students would be 181 estudiantes, and I dropped the uno because my un is being used as an adjective to describe students. So if it's something masculine, it changes to un, and if it's something feminine, it would be una. And you're doing the same thing down here. Vestidos is masculine, so I would just have 250 vestidos. Even though dresses, well, most women are the ones who are wearing the dresses. It's a masculine word. Corbatas, however, is feminine. So I have 500 is the word, the number 500. And then I would want to make it feminine to match my corbatas. Abrigos would be 336. And then 128 camisas. That would still be ciento because you can't make ciento feminine. There is no feminine form. 28 camisas. And 720 pairs of pants, or 720 pants, 720 pantalones. Okay, so then how do we ask about how much something cost? You can put cuánto is the question word, how much. So cuánto cuesta esta camisa? How much does this shirt cost? Or you can say cuánto vale este suéter, or cuánto cuestan estos pantalones, or cuánto valen estos zapatos. So it's the thing that's doing the costing that for which you make agree. So it's cuesta to match camisa. Here it's cuesta to match camisa. And it's vale to match suéter. And it's cuestan over here to match pantalones. And it's valen to match zapatos. Okay? And to ask for the total price, not just how much one thing is worth, you say cuánto es. How much is it? How much is the total? Cuánto es total? Okay, so let's do a little bit of practice with that as well. Your friend Danny went to an electronics store. Your friend Danny went to an electronics store because they're having a big sale. Complete the dialogue between Danny and the salesman with the correct verb form. So if we have costar, and costar is an O to UE, that means that it's O right here is going to change to a UE for every subject except for nosotros and vosotros. And in this case, since we're talking about the cost of items, it's always going to change. So when you start conjugating costar, you're pretty much going to be using cuesta, cuestan, vale, valen. Okay. So cuántos, like esta computadora, what we're talking about right now is how much does the computer cost, so we would want to use cuesta. Antes 1,200, ahora está por 799. Y estos discos compactos, and again, you're asking if they are reduced or on sale. And you're talking about the discos compactos, so you're gonna have to conjugate your star for those because that's what's de rebaja. So you're conjugating for discos compactos. Sí, antes 28, ahora 19. 19. ¿Cuánto valen los iPods? Again, it's los iPods, which is plural, and so you would use valen. ¿Cuánto valen los iPads? Y esto depende entre 99 y 299. Y estos teléfonos, and again, here, even though it's not in the same sentence, what we're asking if they cost a lot are the telephones, and so you would use cuesta. Sí, son muy caros. Okay, quiero los discos y este iPad. ¿Cuánto? And then you would put es, because when you're asking about everything, you use es. ¿Cuánto es todo?